For today's video, I want to talk about whipping twine. What is it? What is it used for? And how do you use it? So as far as what is it, it's just a thin line that's been impregnated with wax, and the wax helps it grip. And it comes in different colors, so this is a spool of green, and this is a spool of red. So what is it used for? Well, the primary use of it is to terminate lines. So this is a good example of that. So you basically wrap a tight coil around the ends of your lines, and that keeps your lines from splitting. But you can also use it to mark lines, and I'll show you that in a second. So here are my two halyards. On the left I've got the jib halyard, and on the right I've got the main halyard, and the ends of each line have been terminated with whipping twine, one in red and one in green. And so that's to prevent mixing up the two lines when I go to rig the boat. So I know that the jib halyard is rigged on the port side, and so it gets red. And the main halyard is rigged on the starboard side, and so it's marked with green. And then on the main halyard I also have my two reefing points marked with whipping twine. And so this is the point where I drop the mainsail to when I want to catch the reefing hook. So I never have to guess about how low to drop the mainsail when I go to reef the boat. I drop it to one of these 2 points, and then I'll always be able to catch the reefing hook, and then I just tighten down the main halyard. And then on the far right is my Jiffy reef line, and again it's been terminated with whipping twine. And then this is for the second reef, so I've indicated where I tie it off when I'm only doing a single reef. The traditional method of whipping a line, basically I'm going to take about 12 inches of whipping twine, and I'm going to put a bite into the line. So it looks just like that, so it's just a little bend. And then I'm going to lay that parallel to the line that I'm whipping. And so then I start wrapping coils around the line. And you want to wrap your coils very tightly, and you're working toward that bite to create a closed loop. And you have to put each coil very, very tight, because it's the friction that's going to hold this in place when you're all done. And so you just keep working toward your bite. And typically what they recommend is that the length of your whipping should be at least half the diameter of the line that's being whipped. And then when you get toward the end, what you do is you put that last coil through the loop. Like so. And then you take your other end and you pull. And what that's going to do is that's going to grab that other end that you just put through the loop, and it's going to pull it underneath those coils. And you want to pull it 2/3 to 3/4 of the way underneath all of those coils. Like so. And then you just snip each end. And theoretically, with the waxed whipping twine, this will hold fast. Now, in my experience, I've had a couple of these come undone. They've unraveled on me over time. And so I like to do a slightly modified method where I take a large gauge needle, and I actually do, I wouldn't call them stitches, but I pass the end of the line through the line that's being whipped. So you just thread your needle, and then take your line, and you want to work on the same plane, so you don't want to be working up or down the line. You just want to stay in the same plane. And do a couple passes here. And so what this is going to do for you is this is going to hold this end more securely. And typically it only takes maybe 2 or 3. Oops. And so once you get those done, then you go right back to the traditional method. So you take your line, you create a bite, create your bite, and then you take your working end and you just start wrapping it. And again, you want to do it very tightly. You want to stack them right up against each other. And then when you get toward the end, do that last coil through the loop. And then you pull the other end. And again, you want to pull it about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way underneath those coils. And then you just snip your ends and your line is whipped. Well, I hope you found this discussion on whipping twine helpful, and as always, thanks for watching.